Hey guys, I recently bought a couple of necklaces from Claire's Accessories. You know, the shop that has so many things inside. There are just rows and rows of cute little accessories, necklaces, clips, bags, hairbrushes. They have everything. And Claire has been around for a really long time. I ventured in there the other day for the first time in probably a year or so, and I fell in love with a couple of their necklaces. So I picked up this beautiful charm necklace. So it's got some cowboy boots, a fish, like a little heart, a cactus, and I fell in love with this and I grabbed it. Then I saw that I had an offer on, which was if you buy 3 items, you get 3 free. So you can get 6 items altogether. Of course, they got me, the marketing worked, and I picked up another little necklace. So this one is I don't actually know what this animal is. It's like a cow bull head on a beautiful silver chain. I got a bunch of other bits and pieces, mainly ones that match this chain necklace. So they had a few butterfly bits, some cowboy boot bits, but I won't bore you with those ones because our main focus for today's video are these 2 necklaces. Although I love both of these very much, I do find that they are a little bit too fresh, sparkly new for my liking. I tend to like my jewelry to be very vintage looking, kind of rusty, dull, and these ones are a little bit too bright and clean, and I feel like they don't quite complete my outfits in a way that I would like. And after a quick ChatGPT search, I've discovered that you can actually DIY jewelry to look vintage and rustic, which I didn't know was a thing. He talked me through a whole bunch of different methods. A lot of them needed me to buy like jewelry tumblers and stuff. There was this one DIY method called paint and rub,
which is essentially you get some paint and then you rub it off just to give it those dark, shady spots hidden in all the little crevices to make it look aged.
And I felt like, what the heck, let's give it a go. Worst case scenario, we can just wipe it off completely if it looks really bad. But that is the goal in today's video. So we are going to DIY both of these necklaces in a hope that we can make them look all cutesy, vintage and rustic. I think I will start with this smaller one because it feels like less could go wrong. And if we're happy with what comes out of this, I will then tackle this charm necklace. But I'm hoping by the end of this video, both of these are going to look very cute, very vintage, and really finish the outfits off in a way that I would like. Also, on a super random side note, I did my nails, very basic. I did a top coat to make them shiny, and I shaped them off to be rounded, and I'm feeling extra bougie. I feel like a new woman. Enough rambling, let's get stuck in. Alright, so for this DIY, what we need is some black acrylic paint. So I have got this one, which is just the PBO acrylic paint. I grabbed this from Hobbycraft. It says that matte paint is best, and this was the only brand that they had in a matte, strangely enough, so I grabbed that one. It does also recommend that you get a brown acrylic paint as well, so I've got that in a matte color. It's probably not the brown that I wanted. It's a little bit lighter than I would like, but I feel like if maybe I mix it with the black, it would come out as that vintagey looking brown, but we shall see. So I've got those 2. You also need a small paintbrush. I have bought a little selection, so I've got a couple of small ones and a few bigger ones in case I feel like I want to cover more surface area, but the little ones are probably better for getting into all of the nooks and crannies and crevices. You also need some paper towels, so I've got these guys, and then other optional bits. It has some fine grit sandpaper, so you can sand your necklaces down. I probably won't do that because I don't want to cause any damage to them. I do want it to be reversible in case something goes wrong, and because it's my first time and I actually like these necklaces, I don't want to damage any of them, so I will skip that step. And the only other thing it has suggested is some matte clear nail polish. I have managed to get a clear nail polish, but it is a glossy shine. I could not find a matte one for the life of me. So I need some sort of base to work off of. So I need to grab a bit of cardboard or something just to cover the worktop. Let me just find something. I've got a Waitrose carry bag that I've turned inside out just to give us a nice plain surface to work on. And like I said, I'm going to start with the smaller necklace, so the thin chain with the little cow bull thing pendant on the edge. All right, so it does say to wipe it down with a cloth to remove any oils or dust. I did actually dip this one into white wine vinegar in a hope that it would dull it down, but it only made it shinier because white wine vinegar is for cleaning. Use a brush or cotton swab to dab black paint onto the necklace. You don't need to be precise, get it into all the crevices and links. All right, so we are getting some black paint and we are just slapping it all over this guy. I haven't used paint in the longest time. I'm not much of an arts and crafts DIY type of person, so I'm gonna have a lot of fun doing this. I don't even remember what the paint smells like. Ooh, that is such a nostalgic smell. I like that very much. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna squirt a bit maybe on the top corner of our carrier bag, just so I can throw it away after I'm done. Okay, let's pop a nice little bit just here. Oh god, so it looks like the paint is quite literally running away. I don't know why I felt the need to put it at the highest point of the bag, but hopefully it doesn't run any further than that. All right, so we are using this black paint to cover the whole necklace. I will probably go for, you know what, I'll just have both of these brushes handy and we'll see how we get on. Roll up my sleeves so I don't ruin my beautiful jumper, and let's do it. God, how do you stop it from like moving around? Okay, the chain is way harder than the actual. I think what I might do is this head first and then do the chain just so I can hold it down. Okay, so what's it looking like on the other side, considering I just flipped that guy over? Just a little more. Okay, so we're supposed to let that dry for 30 seconds and then wipe it off, or as much stuff as possible. 30 seconds, start. So that's now been 30 seconds. I'm gonna just go through and dab at this guy. Ooh, that looks perfect. Right, I don't wanna dab away too much because I quite like that effect. That is exactly what I wanted. All right, I'm gonna try not to disturb that while I do the rest of the chain, but it is proven to be quite tricky because it moves around as you're trying to pull down the chain. But we're gonna go for it anyway. Maybe I can hold it with the paintbrush and then pull down. All right, let's do the chain. I'm hoping that the rest of it comes out just as good because I love that effect. Just flip it over just so I can get the underside. Honestly, when I read how easy this was, I did not think it was going to work anywhere near as good, but I am pleasantly surprised. I'm gonna try and spread it just so it's not completely clumped together. I feel like there would probably be a more effective way of doing this, but here we are. I will leave that for another 30 seconds and we'll go ahead and wipe off the bits from the chain. All right, so it's been 30 seconds. Let's wipe off some from the chain. I'm gonna like go ahead and dab it. I'm not gonna lie, you guys, this is perfect. I feel like I just want to go on the side of that ball just because the sides are looking a little bright. All right, so this is what a necklace is looking like. Where are you guys? What a necklace is looking like so far. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but in the chain, some of these like the holes have gathered with paint. So I'm gonna pop those out to make sure it doesn't dry like that. All right, I think I'm gonna leave it just like that and then pop it on the side to dry. All right, so that is our first necklace all done. So I've got her on this bit of kitchen towel just drying away. I honestly didn't expect that to be quite so easy and quite as effective as it was. I feel like it gathered so nicely on the silver. Hopefully it dries like that and doesn't start flaking off. You've probably also noticed I've changed my top. I ran upstairs and did that now quickly because I didn't realize how messy this would be. And the last thing I want to do is damage my beautiful bunny jumper. So wearing all black felt like the best choice for this activity. I don't know why I decided to dress cute in the first place, but here we are. All right, so we're now going to tackle the second necklace. With this one, it is going to be a bit trickier because there's a lot of details and a lot of little charms hanging, and I really don't want to take away from some of the like diamantes and the butterflies. So we're going to work mainly into the plain charms, so the ones that don't have any gems, and try and make those look nice and rustic, and try not to affect some of the pretty ones so much and try and keep them the same. We'll see how I get on with that challenge. I'm also struggling with angles. If I had two cameras, this would be way easier. So if you guys are just staring at my arms doing the necklace for a long time, I'm sorry, I am not willing to get paint all over my phone, but at least you guys get to be fully immersed in the experience. Okay, so let's lay this guy down. I did also run out of kitchen rolls, so you probably noticed that I've now got a huge roll. I'm definitely a little nervous about this one because there's a lot more detail, but seeing how easy that one was, I'm sure I've got nothing to worry about. Also, I'm not entirely sure I will need this brown paint. The black seems to be doing an effective enough job. So we'll see once it dries, see if we need to come back with this one. But for now, I'm gonna just pop it away and let's get started on the other necklace. So maybe what we'll do is we'll start from the top down. Does that seem like a sensible thing? I'm gonna eat the frog and we're gonna just start with the charms. Right, I feel like this is going to be very messy. So let's get my hair out the way and let's begin. I'll probably use a smaller paintbrush for this. And I'm gonna just cover all of these guys. Okay, let's put the butterfly away. I feel like it's going to be so challenging to not ruin the pretty charms. This is way trickier than I anticipated because it's all very like flimsy. I feel like I'm definitely gonna miss bits on this necklace because it's so intricate and there's so many like moving parts. But slow and steady, I think is probably the better option than trying to slap it all on. Okay, everything's going smooth so far. Okay, the butterfly I'm kind of nervous about because I want to get its edges but not the blue. All right, so we're covering this whole chain. I'm starting to get nervous, like I should be wiping away. It feels like it's been sat there for a really long time. I'm gonna just start dabbing at these bits down here because I'm worried they're gonna be drying out. Oh no, the blue's like completely covered. Can I wipe that off? Okay, good, it's coming off. It's just gonna take a little bit of work. I know this is gonna come out looking really good, but the process is terrifying. Ooh, okay, that's looking pretty good actually. Look at my hands, they're absolutely covered. It's definitely not one for if you're looking for a nice clean DIY. What I could probably do with is let me transfer this to a kitchen towel and have a look at it without the black background. Okay, so this is what the necklace is looking like. I think it's pretty good. The only bit I don't like is how thick the black paint is in some of these little crevices. I'm gonna just go ahead with one of that thin paintbrush, see if I can get some of that out. I also feel like I could do with wiping down these pearls a bit better because they're not, I don't want them to be colored. Seem to have scratched off the pearlescent material. Okay, it just adds to the rustic vibe. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and I'll probably use this paintbrush, see if I can scrub some of that out from the middle. Just so it's not like a perfect black blob. Oh, that's working pretty well actually. Ooh, it's giving it like a nice scratchy effect, like it is actually old. So this is what they're looking like at the moment. So they've been drying probably for around half an hour. I do need to leave them for an hour before they are fully dry and can be handled, which is very exciting. I think they're looking so good already. I'm glad I cleaned up some of the edges around the butterfly and the pearls. It's looking 10 out of 10. Now I'm going to use this nail polish top coat to finish off the necklaces while my boyfriend learns Polish on Duolingo.
One lubią dzieci. Lubisz ciasteczka.
It's so like,
It's like, you like cookies. You do. You like cookies.
This process was really fun, but I couldn't actually tell which bits I've done or haven't done. And at the end it started to stick to the kitchen towel, which I was a bit nervous about, but actually it came off okay and then was nice and malleable. So that's both the necklaces all done. I feel like they came out amazing. It is the perfect mix of like vintage, rustic, all of that very clinical, clean, bright white silver has gone and it's now covered with this lovely darker, slightly more tarnished look, which I much prefer. The whole process with the drying time took probably 2 hours from start to finish, which I think is pretty good for a result like this one. I feel like I would now definitely get the vibe that I'm looking for with my outfits. So when painting both of these necklaces, the simpler one with just the one charm was naturally a lot easier. The chain was very thin, and although we did get some of the paint pooling inside the rings, overall it wasn't too bad. Once I poked those out, it left quite a really nice, clean finish. Painting the one with the charms was definitely a lot trickier. So doing the links was nice and easy with the actual sort of white paddled brush. It covered a lot of surface area, and I think it was quite easy to get all of the angles. The charms, however, were very, very, very tricky. And I did ruin the heart one a little bit. So we have accidentally peeled some of the pearlescent like sheen over the top of that. If it gets any worse, I'm sure there is a way that I'll be able to fix that. But as of now, I'm not bothered. I feel like it adds to that vintagey look. The only thing that had me worried halfway through is that the necklaces got a little bit rigid as the paint was drying. So as I moved around, they kind of like moved very robotically, but now they've got more of a natural movement to them, which I really like. One positive mistake is the one with the chain does grab to its location, so no matter how I move the chain, it's staying put, which honestly I think is a godsend, because there's nothing worse than when this little guy gets stuck on your back and you have the front of the necklace showing. I'm hoping that that will avoid that happening, which is actually such a positive, unforeseen outcome. And also my nails, I have a unexpected spluttery paint design on my brand new freshly painted nails, which I boasted about at the start of this video. I imagine it's going to flake off as I wash my hands, but for now I'll enjoy it. It gives them a nice like artsy vibe. Putting them on, I was worried that it was going to transfer onto my skin or onto what I'm wearing, but actually seems pretty set. That nail polish definitely did a very good job at setting the paint, so I don't think it's going to get onto any of my clothes, but if it does and you guys would like an update, let me know in the comments so I can come back. But I have a good feeling about this. I feel like this is going to last me for a very, very long time. The only unforeseen thing was the clasp. So the bit that you kind of like press to open it got stuck. So if you are attempting this DIY, make sure that you check that the clasp does open and close as it should before you do the painting of the top coat. That is probably my biggest learning for next time. So if you yourself have any super shiny jewelry which you are looking to give more of a vintage vibe to, I would highly recommend this process. It was relatively cheap, it was very easy, and I think the final product is excellent. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. I would love to see you all again, so please subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.